Evening all, welcome again to another Live at 5 broadcast, Friday the 27th of September. Tonight we have a trot out on the golf course and assess the water levels, talk to you about some exciting new product that's going to be hitting the shelves this autumn, including the most aggressive grooves in golf. And we discuss the importance of strike patterns and how you can assess yours and make a little difference for massive gains. Plus the usual results from all the competitions at York, Crompton and Royton Golf Club. So as I said, it's been absolutely wet as a bath again this week. Very, very difficult for Scott and the team to do any sort of proper greenkeeping work because it's just been too wet to get any sort of machinery on the course and complete any sort of tasks or workloads. Saying that, they have managed to get out here and spike, scarify and top dress all of the tees. As you can see here out on the 10 tee, we've got full of holes, full of aeration holes. That's the spiking, which enables obviously the water to percolate through, making a drier surface, and it also enables the sand, the top dressing that they're going to put on these tees, to sink down into the holes, making a much more even and drier playing surface. So after the spiking comes a scarifying process. Now scarifying is a way of taking all the moss and the thatch and the dead grass out of the top surface of the tee. And then the job's finally finished off with an application of sand and brushing it into all the holes to make it a more even, drier surface. Now, if you've ever had a professional club fitting, you'd understand the importance of loft and lie and the correct strike pattern on the club face. The strike pattern is essentially the part of the club face that you use to most consistently strike the ball. And this can be measured in a few different ways. The main influencer for strike pattern is you and how you deliver the club into the ball. We're all different shapes, different sizes, different handicaps, ages and abilities, but we all deliver the club in our own unique way into the back of the ball. Now, as we all know, the correct place to hit the golf shot is right in the middle of the face. Now if you get your 7-iron and assess the strike pattern across the face and the sole, if your strike pattern tends to be more strikes out of the toe area here or sole strikes around here, it means that your swing delivers the club this way into the back of the ball. So you're steepening off the shaft through impact, which then again flattens the toe down and makes that dig in first. Now there are subtle changes that we can make to your golf clubs which are very cost effective to enable you to strike that ball right out the middle of your club. Now this pattern of strike might not entirely be all your fault. Two contributing factors that the golf club plays in this. One of them is it could be too flat for you. That's why it's digging in toe first. Strikes coming out the toe, you're not getting the most out your strikes, not going very far, and more often than not going a little bit right. Or it could be too short for you. Now the length of the golf club also has a direct contribution to the correct lie angle. If it's too short, it's going to be too flat. Now exactly the opposite applies for strike patterns that are coming more out the heel or the heel sole of the club here. Whereas this way's too flat, this sort of strike pattern always says that a club's too upright for you or too long. Now as I've said, there's a very, very cost-effective way to remedy this. All we need to do is a simple lie test, which means just hitting a few shots off the lie board. Bit of sticky tape on the club face is the traditional method, or we can do it in the studio in the warmth with the GC quad. Now the results of this test will then determine exactly how we go about altering your clubs to make them suit your golf swing. Might also mean that we're adjusting the length of the clubs, maybe adding a little bit on or chopping a little bit off, again to make you hit the centre of the golf club. Or in many cases it's often a combination of both. So go on, what are you waiting for? Go and grab your 7-iron from the garage at the boot of the car and have a look at your strike pattern. And if it's a little indifferent or you prefer it more out the middle, then come and see us and we'll reintroduce you to the middle of your club face. So now on to the results, and as you can see, the 18th green behind me gives us a perfect illustration of what golf's been like this week, or lack of golf. Looking at the weather forecast going into this weekend and early next week, it's probably not going to change, so I'm hoping that we get to play the singles medal tomorrow. Fingers crossed for that. Without further ado, let's recap on last week's result. So last Saturday we had a 4-ball better ball Stableford. It was off the yellows, nice and friendly, gentle competition. Remember, we're still on lift clean in place because of the conditions. Runner-up, or runners-up on 45 points was Tony Costello and Steve Costigan, And the winners of last Saturday's Better Ball were Steve Sherrock and John Thompson with a fine score of 46 points. Twos last week were worth 1686. Now, as I mentioned, Tuesday this week was a right all washout. There wasn't enough entries to host an 18-hole competition, but there was just enough for a 9-hole comp, which was won by Jack Kenworthy on 16 points. Now on Sunday, the massive thunderstorm we had about 7:30, 8:15 also put pay to the All Finals day, which was scheduled to be played. Almighty storm came through at that time in the morning and put the course completely under. Scott had no choice at that time but to close the course. All Finals day will now be replayed on Sunday the 13th of October. Now, to finish up the results, the playoff, three-way playoff for the Vets Trophy took place last Monday evening. Horrendous conditions, but everybody pitched up and played some good golf. This playoff was won by a fantastic score, 75 gross, less 867 by Andy Bottomley. Well done, Andy, a very deserved winner. So loads of new stuff in the shop: Calvin Klein, Under Armour, Adidas autumn winter gear, some brand new winter boots as well now in stock from Adidas. And also look out for the release of the new Callaway Mac Daddy 5 wedges, the Jaws wedges. These things are supposed to spin like mad. The most aggressive grooves in golf, designed by none other than the great Roger Cleveland. So they'll be in the shop real soon. Pop in for a coffee. Hope to see you all this weekend. Fingers crossed. Bye for now.